I've been enjoying ARA History Untold, a new strategy game released this year. To boil it down to derivative levels, ARA combines the DNA of several other 4X strategy games, mostly Anno and Civilization, into a unique and different beast. There's a bigger focus on micromanagement than in some other strategy games, and to a lot of people, that's a major turnoff. But honestly, so far for me, it's been pretty darn fun. 100% recommended. If you're looking for something new to try and you like strategery, give ARA a shot. That being said, I find that the more you like something, the more you can't help but critique it. I have a list of a few things here I'd love to see implemented into the game. Of course, all of this is just my opinion. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't. Some of these things are probably easily doable by the devs, and others are most likely totally impossible. ARA has already had a few patches since launch. It's at a really good starting point for becoming a solid game in the near future. The devs seem to be fairly active and receptive. That's an awesome thing to see. As of writing this, the game is currently on version 1.0.6, and there's an even bigger patch on the way soon. So some of these critiques might turn into a non-concern in later versions. But here you go, in no particular order, 10 things I'd change about ARA History Untold. Number 1. Initial scouting settling phase. You've chosen your culture, read every single bonus from every single leader, meticulously set up your game, chosen all the perfect settings, primed the pump for a legendary legacy, prestige out the wazoo. It's all loaded in, and now your first city location has been chosen for you. You slept in. Sorry, leader, you were late to the city founding ceremony. Forgive me if I'm misinterpreting things, but the whole setup, the whole striptease, if you will, the initial initiation into the game, is supposed to get us in the mood to roleplay. We're embodying the leader of an ancient civilization. In setting up the game, choosing our opponents, sculpting our world to play in, we're engaging in the role-playing elements of the simulation. Then, at a potential endorphin dump that would anchor us into the game, attach us wholeheartedly to our first city, has been taken away. You've picked for me. Why not set everything else up for me too? Just put a dev's choice button right there that sends me into a random match. Yeah, okay. Maybe it has something to do with, like, the world generation, perfect placement of major civilizations and tribes. Yeah, okay. Maybe it is the best spot, and I'd probably place my city down there anyway. But that's not the point, is it? The point is the fact that I chose to put the city there. I am the leader. I am telling the untold history, am I not? I mean, it doesn't need to be this, like, prolonged big thing, right? In Civilization, it's basically the first turn or two. In Humankind, it's like a whole era. All I'm saying is it would be nice to have that initial input. No need to go backwards now. If anything, put it as like an option in the advanced map setup. Number 2, photo mode. I don't think I need to jabber-jaw about this one too much. Photo mode is a standard thing nowadays, or so I thought. Maybe it's just a AAA developer thing. Or are they quadruple A developers nowadays? I can't keep up. But you know what photo mode is, right? A mode that completely hides the UI, gives you options for depth of field, screen tilt, and filters, allows for beautiful capture of footage and screenshots. You know, the kind of thing that a game that supposedly focuses on showing off its dynamic living world filled with life and charm across sweeping landscapes would want to implement. Number 3, free the camera and show hidden UI elements from turn 1. In the beginning few turns of the game, you're limited to what UI elements you're allowed to click on. It's weird. Just let me see the damn menus. I want to see the menus. If there's nothing to display, put text there that says, "What you looking at this for, dummy? Come back later." Hiding shit from me makes me mad. How am I expected to make high-level informed decisions if information is hidden from me? And what's with the boxing me in? Why can't I scroll the camera around the whole world before I explore the whole damn thing? I don't care if it's just fog of war or clouds, just let me see it. It adds to the immersion that what we're playing on is an actual planet and not a flat map. Hell, if you guys could program it, let us zoom all the way out like in Civilization 4 so we can see the map as like a spherical globe. Number 4. Right-clicking closes things. Maybe I should have started with this one. It actually might be the simplest one for the devs to implement. For ease of navigation and sanity's sake, right-clicking should dismiss most all of the UI elements just like Escape does. I think a decent game design goal should be to reduce click and mouse movement load on the player and maximize what a player can do with just one hand. There's probably a sex joke in there somewhere. But in all seriousness, the right click is severely underutilized. Number 5, the UI. The UI. Design is subjective, right? To an extent, I mean. Like, what some people might really like, others might just tolerate. But by and large, I think the whole community agrees that the UI is rough. Each of us, with our subjective preferences, objectively, has had a bad time with the UI. That's a big problemo. There are some poor design choices, but I definitely can't claim to be the one who could fix it all. But UI needs to have direction. It needs to have clarity. It needs to be succinct. You need to be transparent with information that affects gameplay. Choices mean nothing if the player sees no impact of those choices. Mechanics and systems that are critical to the gameplay loop need to be accessed easily. If as a developer you are expecting the player to manage 1,000 different things, then you need to build a UI that allows for this comfortably. Otherwise, the design is failing. This section could be its own video, so if I don't self-limit, then this could go on forever. Here, just a few places that need some love off the top of my head. The Technology and ARA screen. This is terrible. Spread the information out. Show me an interesting tech web. Do something. Don't hide everything behind tooltips. Display the information that people are coming to this menu looking for. Show the city limit and civilization limit on improvement tooltips. And speaking of tooltips, there should be a hotkey to hide them. It could be Shift or Control or Alt or something that you hold to prevent tooltips from popping up. I'm telling you, it would help with UI navigation a lot. I like to have access to the snappy tooltips, but sometimes I want to read something hidden underneath them. Let me hide them for just a second. Units. Why are there hidden buttons? Make all the buttons visible and legible at a glance. Don't make me click unnecessary clicks. Events. How can I make a decision that will impact my city's quality of life if I can't see that information? If an option has a +10 to X quality of life, then you should show me how much X is right there. Don't make me click unnecessary clicks. Resources. There's like 3 different places I have to look to get a reading on how my economy is doing. The fact that there's like 300 different goods and resources doesn't really make this easy, but there's got to be a better way to display all of this. Same thing with managing crafting and improvements that utilize these resources. It's a bit of a chore to go through and manage all of your amenities and supplies. Typos. I've seen like 4 examples of misspelled words, out of context information, and poor grammar in the tooltips. Hire a proofreader or something. It just comes off as unprofessional, to me. Your game is $79.99 for fuck's sake. Number 6. Repetitive events. I mean, less of them. This single issue to me will eventually kill the enjoyment of replayability. I mean, isn't replayability a crucial element of the 4X genre? If you play one game and then you're done, that seems like a bit of a waste, right? So why not make replaying the game as fun as possible? You know what's not fun? Hearing for the 6th time that we need to choose a cornerstone between the same 3 options. I bet those kids are going to find that hill fort real soon. I'm 100% serious in saying that this could be a game killer for some people. People get bored faster than ever now. They will move on in a heartbeat. There needs to be way more events in the event pool, and they need to not happen in a set order every single playthrough. That way you can retain the cool event system without having it be repetitive as hell. That way you can have an element of randomness to each playthrough while retaining the handcraftedness of the events. The best of both worlds. Number 7. Unique-ify the leaders more. I've chatted with other players and I'm beginning to agree. The leaders are a bit too similar to each other. They feel rather samey when you're playing. I believe that this is a two-part problem. In the leaders, I find that the bonuses they get are not extreme enough. They need more drastic, unique aspects that really change the way you play the game. +1 movement here and +10% attack value there. I mean, it's a bit lackluster, to be honest. In the game itself, I find there's nothing to fill the unique unit mechanic from the Civilization series. This is a huge aspect of the flavor and style of the civilization that you choose. It's a major element in the characterization of that particular civ, and I don't see the equivalent niche being filled in ARA. To me, each leader feels like they have the same toolset with just slight variations. Number 8. Army and unit management. I know that the devs have already said this is an area where they're actively working, so I don't want to gripe too much. But for posterity's sake, we have to document so we know how much the game improves across its life cycle. In ARA, the system works a bit different, where you recruit units and then deploy them onto the map in a formation. On launch and up to the current version 1.0.6, there is no way to undeploy, upgrade, or combine your units. That's insane. Extremely basic things you could find in any old 4X strategy game. Hopefully things that are fixed in the coming patches. Number 9. Culturally flavored buildings and units. Can you tell the difference between these cultures? I just want to explore an immersive living world and witness the world come to life in vivid, realistic detail as citizens move throughout the world. Well, in the real world, different cultures have different building styles. Different people wear different clothes and play different music. All things that could be developed more to give each civilization some flair. Make different sets of building models and little people sprites to give each culture group its own style. Another little gripe here. Why the fuck are there colonial-style houses in the Bronze Age? That's not immersive. Number 10. I want the Alpha Centauri unit system implemented. It's completely unrealistic. Do you remember how the units worked in Alpha Centauri? You had like the unit itself, kind of like a chassis, and you would plug in the different weapons and armor that you unlocked through researching new technology. So as the game went on, the civilization's units would morph to match the playstyle of that particular civilization. ARA already seems like it's set up for something just like this. The crafting system seems perfect for it. Just like you slot amenities and supplies into the city and its improvements, you could slot the different resources, weapons, and tools that you produce into a unit. Imagine instead of building a spearman or a swordsman, you would build a basic blank unit. The more advanced the unit, the more slots it would have. Then, as your technology developed, you would craft weapons, spears, armor, swords, slings, bows, war horses, siege weapons, guns, tanks, all things that you could plug into the unit slots to upgrade it and make it special. This would help cover for the fact that there are no civilization-specific unique units, like we talked about earlier. Essentially, every unit would be a unique unit. The way your civilization developed would impact the weaponry available for your units to use. You would actually need a military-industrial complex to industrially support a complex military. It would add tremendously to replay value. Of this whole list, this is obviously the most outlandish request. Well, there you have it. 10 things I'd change about ARA History Untold. A few realistic requests, some major overhauls, and a few completely unrealistic pipe dreams. Some of these ideas I'm sure we'll see in future DLCs. I know for a fact that they'll eventually release like an espionage and diplomacy DLC, and probably a natural disaster one. Bet money, but you'll owe me when I turn out right. So what do you think? Is there anything you'd like to see implemented in the game that I didn't go over? Leave me some comments. If you like my stuff, then hit the like button. If you hate my guts, then hit the dislike button. If you want to see more from me, then be sure to subscribe here on YouTube, or if you like Twitch better, I'm over there too. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Take it easy now.